My parents charged me $900 a month rent the day I turned 18. I paid it for 1 month, then found a place for $550 with friends. They called screaming about family loyalty. I mentioned their loyalty first, and everything they lost when I left. The morning I turned 18, my dad slid a folded piece of paper across the kitchen table while I was eating cereal before school. Starting next month, rent is $900. I laughed because I thought he was joking. My mom didn't laugh. Dad folded his arms. You're an adult now. Adults pay rent. I still have 2 months of high school, so plenty of people work and pay bills. I worked evenings stocking shelves at a grocery store. Between school, homework, and work, I barely had time to sleep. $900 was almost everything I earned. What about Ryan? I asked. My younger brother was 16. He played travel baseball every weekend, had a newer car than mine, and had never worked a single shift anywhere. Ryan's still a kid, Dad answered. Apparently, 2 years made all the difference. I paid the rent anyway. On the first of the month, I handed Dad $900 in cash. He counted every bill before putting it into his wallet. Mom smiled and said they were teaching me responsibility. 3 days later, they bought Ryan a new baseball bat, cleats, and a tournament bag that easily cost several $100s. That night, I walked into the kitchen for a glass of water and heard them talking. The extra money really helps, Mom said. Dad laughed. If he keeps paying, we'll finally catch up. I quietly walked back to my room. That conversation changed everything. This wasn't about preparing me for adulthood. I had become another source of income. The next afternoon, I mentioned everything to my friend Jake during lunch. He stared at me. Our roommate moved out last week. Rent is $550 a month if you want the room. After work, he showed me the apartment. It wasn't fancy. The carpet was worn, the couch had seen better days, and the kitchen cabinets were older than we were. It also felt peaceful. Nobody there looked at me like a paycheck. I signed the lease 2 days later. I didn't tell my parents. Every evening after work, I packed another box until everything I owned fit inside my old Honda. Saturday morning, Dad opened my bedroom door. The room was almost empty. What are you doing? I'm moving. You can't just leave. I already signed a lease. Mom rushed into the hallway. You made this decision without talking to us? I didn't know I needed permission. Dad's voice grew louder. This is about responsibility. No, I replied calmly. It's about money. His face tightened. You owe this family loyalty. I looked at both of them. Loyalty? Yes. You charged me more than I'm paying complete strangers. That's different. How? Neither of them answered. You told me adults solve their own problems when I asked for help paying my community college application fees. Dad stayed quiet. You paid for Ryan's baseball tournaments, his equipment, and his gas. Every time I needed something, you said money was tight. Mom crossed her arms. Stop comparing yourself to your brother. I'm not comparing. I'm remembering. Dad pointed toward the front door. If you leave, don't expect us to help you later. I wasn't expecting help now. I picked up my last box, loaded it into my car, and drove away. Living with Jake and Mike wasn't perfect. Sometimes dinner was frozen pizza because that was all we could afford. The water heater broke twice. The roof leaked whenever it rained hard. Someone always forgot to buy toilet paper. Still, it felt more like home than my parents' house ever had. Nobody charged me extra for being family. A month later, Dad called. Where's your rent payment? I moved. You still owe us. For what? We counted on that money. That surprised me. You counted on charging your son more than market rent. Mom grabbed the phone. You've put this family in a difficult financial position. I thought about Ryan's expensive baseball season, his newer car, and every time they claimed there wasn't enough money. I guess adults solve their own problems. She hung up. Over the next week, a few relatives called, saying I should apologize and come home. Then my grandmother called. She asked only one question. How much were they charging? When I told her, she became very quiet. Finally, she sighed. Your grandfather warned your father not to do that. Apparently, Dad had proudly told Grandpa he was making me pay rent to teach me discipline. Grandpa told him there was a difference between raising a son and collecting money from one. Dad ignored him. Months passed. I graduated from high school, started working full-time, and enrolled in community college at night. Without my monthly $900, my parents sold Ryan's newer car and canceled one of his travel baseball tournaments. Funny how quickly family loyalty disappeared when it stopped paying their bills. The last time Dad called, he said I had abandoned my family. I looked around my apartment, paid for with money I earned and kept. Then I answered, I didn't leave my family. I left the only place where loyalty came with a monthly invoice.